Attack of the Clones I saw 3 times for the Yoda fight at the end of the movie. And Revenge of the Sith was actually the one I saw about 5 or 6 times. Revenge of the Sith being the better of the two movies. Yoda is the shit.
Yoda is the shit.
Like, Yoda is, the diminutive Jedi Master who has enough power to kick your ass. Don't underestimate small, tiny, creatures who have the ability to knock you into the next eon with their telekinetic.
Welcome back, YouTube. This is our AV&T series here, and I'm Avarn and TJ Green here. And this is going to be our Star Wars episode.
Star Wars. With the coming filming and / release of Star Wars Episode 7. Holy crap! They're making more movies. We felt it was high time to cover the franchises, any of the games we happen to have played, any of the movies we happen to have watched, TV series, music, books. I mean, right now, Star Wars, thanks to the marketing genius of George Lucas, the creator of the whole thing, there are so many things out now with the Star Wars name and the characters that it's the Elvis Presley of science fiction, pretty much. It covers more than one medium. It have like a very long, influential reach, and it still is relevant to this day. Hence why they're making more movies. I myself watched the original, the first trilogy that was made, which are the episodes 4, 5, and 6 of the 9 movies. And then I went and I watched the newer trilogy, the prequels, which as we get further into this to this topic show, I'll explain my opinions on each of the movies in the trade. What's your experience with Star Wars there, Al?
Well, my experience is, truth be told, I haven't really watched too much Star Wars, but if Star Wars has been one of those things where it's kind of like, in my opinion, kind of like Star Trek. It kind of brings the experience that I have with Star Trek out there when it comes to, but in a different light. You've got, let's go back. You've got Darth Vader, right? Well,
Yeah.
I gotta say that he was probably my favorite character, or what do we call it? Of that. And I remember watching one of the movies. I forgot which one it was, but it was actually an explanation as to how Darth Vader came about. I guess if you remember that.
Oh, it was probably the prequel trilogy. Because episodes 1, 2, and 3, which were titled The Phantom Menace, Attack the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, was how Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader, came to rise as a Jedi and then fell and became the Dark Lord of the Sith we now know as Darth Vader. Episodes 4, 5, and 6, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, chronicles the evilness of Darth Vader, what he did after the trilogy, the prequels, and the later redemption of Darth Vader, as well as the rise of the hero, Luke Skywalker. So it's like, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with the next 3, which would be 7, 8, and 9.
Indeed. I'm actually quite looking forward to it myself, to be honest, because I feel like I've got some catching up to do, to be honest. But for the most part, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like if any of you have ever seen Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
It's kind of like that, you know. It's more of I don't know. I don't know how to put it. The experience for me, I don't know. It was good. It was really good. I'm definitely looking forward to the newest coming up.
Episode 7 that's coming out. Yep. And you can, you folks can pretty much research any episode 7 based information. But what can be announced is the original 3. Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher are coming back as Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Leia Organa. So the originals are coming back for these 3, which, for me as a nostalgic base, is something I wanted because I wanted to see what happened next. And frankly, we kind of went middle backwards and then forwards when it regarded the movies in their order. But it's kind of a hard thing because Lucas wanted to make sure that his trilogy sold. So go for the middle 3, which would probably be the most relevant. And then if more money was made, you could go back and kind of say, okay, well, how did Vader become Darth Vader? How did Luke and Leia get born? How did what happened? Who was there? Who was Luke and Leia's mother? Where does Yoda fit into all this? What was the origin of Obi-Wan Kenobi? All these characters had origins. So they figured, bring the characters in at first, establish the world, and then tell a backstory later, should money allow, and the demand for these movies allow for, a deeper story to be told. I'll be 31 next month. And I've been a huge Star Wars fan since I was a kid, and I could get up on my feet and carry a little lightsaber in my hand and go see the movies, and as an adult, I kind of appreciate the story, the essences of the story a lot more. The good versus evil, the rise, the fall, the redemptions, the heroes' journeys, the educations, the quests. It's all it's all got archetypes that have been in there in other fairy tales and science fiction stories and action adventure stories. There's some kind of a archetype in each genre that is found in Star Wars. I went and saw. I think I went and saw Return of the Jedi in theaters about 4 times as a kid. I think the only other prequel movies I ever went and saw more than one time was I went and saw Phantom Menace twice. Attack of the Clones I saw 3 times for the Yoda fight at the end of the movie, and Revenge of the Sith was actually the one I saw about 5 or 6 times. Revenge of the Sith being the better of the prequel movies.
Yoda's awesome.
Yoda is the shit.
Yoda is the shit.
Like, Yoda is, the diminutive Jedi Master who has enough power to kick your ass.
Pretty much.
Don't underestimate small, tiny, creatures who have the ability to knock you into next eon with their telekinetic and lightsaber powers. Again, and it brought so many awesome characters that people cared about. Anakin Skywalker, Emperor Palpatine, the whole Darth Vader alter ego, Luke Skywalker, Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca, the droids, R2-D2, C-3PO, Padme Amidala, so many of these people. um, Although there is one character that I can tell you is a unanimous, like a worldwide decision. This character should never have been created.
Huh.
This character should never have been introduced into any piece of modern film, and is the running joke of the Star Wars galaxy and legacy. And that character, my friends, of course, is Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
Jar Jar fucking Binks. Jar Jar. Okay, this character is a doof. He is the comic relief character that was never really necessary in those movies.
Indeed.
And I'm not gonna say he wasn't funny. There were times where Jar Jar was kind of, if it were, a whole, TV series, like Star Wars Gungans, and Jar Jar was the main character there, I'm pretty sure, actually, they'd probably have at least multiple seasons of it, and it would be funny as hell. And I would greenlight that. Jar Jar should never have been installed in any of the prequel movies. It was just, there was no need for him. And then to make him the pariah and make him the catalyst of Chancellor Palpatine gaining the powers he needs to become the Emperor at the end of the prequel movies is like nice. You just made more of a reason for people to hate Jar Jar Binks than there was in the Phantom fucking Menace. I mean,
Doof Emperor.
Pretty much, it's like, congratulations. This entirely awesome, Sith Lord needed a Gungan to gain his political power. Nice. And Jar Jar was just a grain. He was just like this grating, thing, person, creature, whatever, that just... Jar Jar is the hemorrhoid of Star Wars. Jar Jar is the hemorrhoid of Star Wars. He is he's that bad penny. He keeps coming back no matter how many times you don't want him to be. But I'll kind of end my rant. But he was a character that was like reviled by Star Wars fans.
True. Yeah. Like I said, what the fuck? I lost my train of thought already. God damn it. TJ, you got something to add?
Absolutely.
Till I get my thought back.
Sure. Keep in mind at this particular time where Star Wars was being made. I mean, Star Wars was, hitting its, popularity and stride back in the late 70s. And that was when A New Hope was being filmed and produced and everything. And George Lucas was just coming, into his own as a filmmaker. He had made the car movie American Graffiti, and then Star Wars came right after that, and that skyrocketed not only him but the actors in the movie, Hamill, Ford, and Fisher, to it started the basis for stories that now are still being written. I mean, there's several different multi-part, multi-book novels, in the quote-unquote expanded universe, which, I got a rant. Okay. Now, this is to people who have read the quote-unquote expanded universe novels, which, pretty much anything that happens after the Return of the Jedi, or, through what is called the Legacy era and the New Jedi Order era. These books created characters such as, the kids of Han and Leia, Jason, Jaina, and Anakin. and the deaths of characters, well, the newer books introduced, a wife to Luke Skywalker, Mara Jade. Um, and then their son Ben was born during the New Jedi Order, and then uh, the Han and Leia's twins, Jason and Jaina, and then Anakin were born. And then Chewbacca dies, and then Anakin dies, and then Mara Jade ends up dying. It's like all these things that had like 10, 11 books or 9 books, have now we've now been told they are not canon. They are not part of what will be explained or even touched upon in the 7, 8, and 9 movies. Read my lips, you are morons! Okay, these are particularly excellently written books. Not mad dark, but dark enough. Very serious storylines. The fate of the world, a whole new war, whole new, galactic civil war and everything else and things that end up happening. And these are good things. These are good events, and it's an expanded thing. It's supposed to build on and tell what happened to Luke, Leia, and Han after the events of Return of the Jedi. And now they're being, washed in and they're being called Legends series. And now, basically, they're what-if stories. Elseworld stories. No! No. Make a better business decision, George fucking Lucas. Okay? These stories are incredibly awesome. If you need someone to keep an eye on the continuity of things, hire somebody who's been involved in the books and hire them on as a consultant for anything in regards to the movies or the movie scripts that you do. Instead, you now take a whole mess of books that have made you a shit ton of money, and now you're telling the people who are fans of those novels, as well as your movies, that there's no way for them to mesh. You are a dipshit. Thank you very fucking much.
I agree on that one too, actually. But yeah. Speaking of which, what about the war now? Want to talk a little bit about the war?
Well, in the prequel trilogy, you lead up again to what's called the Jedi Purge.
Pretty much.
Palpatine creates Order 66. The clones start turning on the Jedi and start eradicating Jedi one by one. Ambushing them to the point where Palpatine was at this point a very evil strategic genius, and that creating all those machines that the Jedi would eventually use to help beat the separatist movements, and instead those same things would be turned on them, and the Jedi would be in no position to see it or stop it, and the Jedi are eradicated except for a select few. Obi-Wan, Yoda, and the birth of the Jedi twins, Luke and Leia. They're at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Luke and Leia are hidden on Alderaan and Tatooine, and that's basically where we see 4, 5, and 6 pick up. 4, 5, and 6 is the rebellion. It's the Empire was created, and the New Republic, so to speak, started out as the rebellion, and they're trying to overthrow Palpatine. They're trying to get their Republic back the way it was supposed to be when things were created in the Galactic Senate and all that. And it's a good war. I mean, there's wins and losses on both sides. The good guys don't win in each of the movies. I mean, they do have victories, but they also have significant losses. Like in A New Hope, Obi-Wan dies, but they stopped the Death Star. They destroyed the Death Star. So they won, but they paid a heavy price.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, they lost.
Yeah.
They very openly lost. Like each character lost somehow. Han Solo gets captured and shipped off to a bounty hunter to be taken to Jabba the Hutt. Luke, yeah, Jabba. We'll get to Jabba in a moment. Luke loses his hand in a battle against Darth Vader, who at this particular point is revealed to be Luke's father. Oh, that is one freaked up dysfunctional family right there. Poor Luke. That's a heck of. Leia loses because she falls in love with Han. Han gets captured. It's pretty much a huge body blow for the rebellion. Nobody wins. It's the one moment where you finally, the Empire, and Darth Vader strike a huge blow against the heart of the rebellion. And then number 6, Return of the Jedi, is the one where they finally come out with a victory in the war, and the New Republic has finally got their chance to reestablish itself. And I think it was a very good storytelling and a realistic storytelling about the wins and losses in a very lengthy war.
Oh, very true.
Characters did have ranks, general, captain, commander, lieutenant, and, you definitely could tell, the hierarchies and the not power struggles within the rebellion itself. But you can tell like the corrupt, people who felt they had no choice, making decisions, maybe not so good decisions. So I thought it was very, very good, very realistic telling of the back and forth in the war.
True. But yeah, it's like I said, I definitely can't wait for the newest one to come out. But I'm definitely going to be catching up myself because, in truth, I haven't really seen a lot of Star Wars, but I'm going to catch back up. So that's been a while.
Indeed, I think there's always things that somebody remembers. Whether it's lightsaber fights,
Yes.
or the use of Jedi powers, or Darth Vader, or Luke Skywalker. It doesn't matter how small it is. Star Wars is always remembered for something. And for me, what brings me back is how Lucas succeeds in intertwining the 6 stories to make what he called the tragedy, the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker, the rise and fall. And I just think that with each move, the original 3 were top notch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate on the prequel trilogy so much. I know they're not pure, like purists for Star Wars fans really hate on the trilogy, and I don't. I don't think they're great movies by any stretch, but I think they're necessary stories in a 6-part telling of how Anakin Skywalker rose to grace, fell from grace, and came back to grace. My hope is that the next movie's coming. I think the first one right now is being directed by J.J. Abrams, who has had a very good history of bringing classic genres back from not death, so to speak, but just nobody really talks about that like anymore, and then he finds something that the fans demand and goes for it. So yeah, looking forward to what happens to appear in the new prequel trilogy. what I was going to say. Um, I definitely think that Star Wars was a necessary story. The good, the evil, the light, the dark, the rebellion, the empire, all of it. I think it was very well written at the time, even though some of it wasn't entirely well received. So I will still like. No offense to Star Wars, but I'll still be a huge Trekkie,
Oh yeah.
over Star Wars.
Mm,
But I get just as much enjoyment out of the Star Wars movies as I do from the Star Trek movies and series. So
indeed. Same here. Yeah, quite honestly. But I still like Star Wars too when I do catch up with it. Um, I will say that there isn't really much out there like Star Wars, and I
you're
mean,
right.
along the storyline, it's a little different compared to Star Trek and then Battlestar Galactica, which ended sadly.
Agreed. I was a huge old school Battlestar Galactica fan. I'm not a huge new school fan, but I did appreciate what um the new version of Galactica did. So we're just gonna say our final thoughts at this particular point. We've covered different aspects of the Star Wars movies, but all I'm gonna say is go. Keep your eyes out. Go give episode 7, whatever title they happen to come up with, a chance, and let's see what the the new future of the Star Wars saga has in store for us. So, with that being said, I'm TJ Green.
And this is AV, and this has been another episode of AV and T series. And you guys have a great night.